back.
We're back.
Round 2.
Last time we talked about just like getting to know us and who are we, what are we doing, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And so welcome back to Two Sides of the Hustle.
And I don't think we mentioned why we named it that, but it's kind of a play on both our personal life and business. So obviously, personally, we have really different lives. I have a family and husband, and Alex is frolicking, living the single life. And but then also business related, I'm on the real estate sales side, and then you're on the mortgage side. So
Yeah, just kind of a couple different viewpoints.
yeah.
In all things life and business. So happy to be back.
Yes.
Today we're talking about navigating life in our 30s, which obviously is going to look different for both of us. And it just like looks different than our 20s too, just in general.
Totally.
So, but yeah, I would say like one of the biggest realizations that I had this past week, because as you know, I road trip to Florida and took the dogs, all 3 of them. But it was funny because my friends were like, well, like since you're getting an Airbnb that sleeps 14, because that was the only Airbnb that was left. And so I just, because I booked I left on Wednesday, booked the Airbnb on Wednesday morning, the same day.
Gosh.
And it was all that was left because it was a Memorial Day weekend and whatever. So I just snagged it. And then I was talking to my friends about it. A couple of them were like, well, we could come down. Like, we could bring our kids and whatever. And one of my friends goes, yeah. So I just asked Grant, and he said no before I even finished, like before I even got to finish.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about it like, wow, that's one thing that has been different for me in my 30s is that, hey, I can still just be like, I'm going to jump in the car and go on a road trip. I don't have to ask anyone. I don't have to worry about, kids in the car and whatever. So,
and meanwhile, I booked a place for us to road trip. We were going to go to Colorado. So I booked it like 2 months ago. It was for July, so like 4 months in advance. Did it knowing that I could cancel it up to the day before for a full refund. And we already decided that we can't do it. It's too much.
Yeah.
But you can bring your 3 dogs, and that's...
Yeah. I was shocked,
amazing.
like, at how well it worked out because... Yeah, I mean, they slept the whole time. It's probably a big difference between the kids and the dogs. Because I was like, this is, like, tricky. Like, it's not easy to bring 3 dogs in a car for 14 hours. And, like,
it is a long time. Yeah,
the youngest still has to be in her kennel, so I had to load up the kennel, and take that. And it's massive because she's massive. So, yeah, it was just, like, I knew it wasn't going to be a walk in the park, but I was like, at least the dogs are not, like, crying.
Yeah.
So... but one thing I did want to say, because I feel like I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, who decided that 30 was going to be like this like milestone that you have to have everything figured out by then? You know what I mean? Kind of what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, why can't it be 40?
Well, and I feel like when we were younger, we used to think 30 sounded so old. Like, we would have, like... kids in elementary school already, which some of our friends do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen like any of the memes where they're like, you're like 34 years old and you get pregnant and you're like, I'm only 34 though. Like, I'm still a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not old enough to raise another human. And you're like,
right.
Almost middle-aged at this point.
I know. I'm like, who decided that? Like, who decided that there was like an expiration date on what we're doing? It's actually hilarious because obviously, like, we talk about like navigating life in your 30s. Like, one of the things I think, and I'm vocal about it. I've always been vocal about it because I know that there's other people because they like have messaged me separately or like commented on stuff. And whatever, like, it's not a secret that literally every single one of my friends, you know, in my friend group and stuff like that, and people I grew up with and people that I've known forever, everyone is married and has kids except for me. Like, literally, I don't know a single person that is in my, like, circle that isn't at least married. Or, you know.
Some of that, I think, is, like, we're in the Midwest. So
and we've talked about this
very
before.
normal. Yeah. Like, on my friends that live on the coast, they're, like, they don't feel as much pressure, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's not where everyone else necessarily is in life.
Right. But it is crazy, like, to think about, because it's like, well, for example, and there was a St. Joseph's table that I helped my dad with at Sons of Columbus, you know, whatever. So, and it could be Midwest plus Italian community.
Yeah,
like that, there's
totally.
a whole nother family. Those are, like, a whole nother family aspect to, like, that part of it, too.
Yes.
But anyways, we were down at Sons of Columbus, and we're, like, doing, and I'm seeing all these people that have known me since I was a kid. You know, I grew up with some of their kids and whatever else, but someone was like, Alex, like, are you married? And I was like, no. She was like, no kids? I was like, no. And then, like, literally I had to laugh because, like, the look on her face looked like I had just, like, sucker punched her.
Someone died.
Or something. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's, like, really not.
Like, I'm okay.
I still have, like, a little bit of time, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not, like, but it's that for me, you know, starting to see posts about, like, freezing my eggs and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm getting, like, pandered. Like, these ads are just popping up on Instagram that are, like, talking. And so that's, like, a whole nother nerve-wracking thing that you're then thinking about. But I feel like it's that for a lot of people, like, a lot of, like, women in their early 30s, or, like, for a bunch of people, it's, like, maybe it's finance, like, feeling like you're behind, like, at work or in finances and stuff like that. So.
It does, though. It does feel like it starts to get a little more real when you turn 30, because you now have been out of school, whether you went to college or not, for, like, almost 10 years.
Yep.
So when whatever you've been doing, like, you're finally like, okay, I definitely need to start getting my stuff together, whatever that is. Because if, I don't know, just thinking about, like, retirement, I guess, and your lifespan, like, if you're like, hey, I'm not, like, financially, for example, like, where I want to be right now, so how I need to have a path to get there. How am I going to be able to do that and then start, like, stacking money away for retirement if I'm not doing it right now?
Yeah.
And then you just start to see, like, the years, I don't know. It's easy when you pull back from, like, 1,000-foot view to kind of get anxious about stuff when you start, like, I don't know. Have you seen the video about the guy that I think he has, like, a string, and he's like, so this is it, and that's basically your lifespan.
Oh,
And he talks, it's like 100, but then most people only live to whatever it is, like 75, 80. So then he cuts it, and then he's like, you're right here, so you only have, like, this amount of time, and then you're like, whoa.
yeah. My brain can't go there because that will, like, literally give me anxiety.
I know.
It's crazy because so many things have, like, changed from our 20s. Like, even, I mean, you were married with kids in your 20s still.
I was
right?
I was pregnant on my 30th birthday.
Okay. But married in your 20s.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like even though all those things are happening, like, things are happening in your 20s, for some reason there's so much less, like, pressure in your 20s.
Totally.
I don't know. And it doesn't matter if you're 29 or 28. It's just,
Yeah.
like, that number, like, like 30. And I'm 30. How old are you?
32. I'll be 33 in August.
Okay, so I'll be 32. I'll be
so I'm older than
it does.
older than you.
I'll be 32 2 weeks from today, actually. So yeah, but it's just like, gosh, like, I remember being 26 and just being like, I still have, like, the world at my fingertips.
Yeah.
you know? And then now you're like,
and you almost,
crap.
yeah, you start feeling like that's not the case. But if you, then also when you think about it, like we're still so young,
Yeah.
but
Well,
we feel,
and I would like to add, like, I would not go back. I would not love to go back to my 20s. Like,
I would agree.
in my early 20s, like, you want to talk about poor? I mean, poor. Like, I remember one time, like, trying to, like, right out of college. Okay, so right out of college, I was living in those apartments in Briarcliff, like the ones that, like, kind of sit, like, kind of up on the hill.
Yes.
A little bit. So my best
We lived in the lower ones because they were cheaper.
Oh,
so
okay. Oh
you
my
were
God.
poor.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't know that. Okay, how funny. Well, yeah, so first of all, cost of living, holy cow. You want to talk about
Insane.
Jenna and I, one of my best friends, we rented a 2-bedroom apartment in Briarcliff for $1,400. You would not be able to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Briarcliff for $1,400 today.
Not even close.
But so we're paying $700 a month for rent, which if I could go back and pay $700 a month for rent, believe me,
Amazing.
I would. But it's like I remember being so poor then, and this is when I graduated college when I was 21. So I'm 21. I remember being so poor. I was like looking for quarters to put in my gas to get gas.
Yeah.
To get me to work because I was working at Margarita's full time right out of college, and so just to get me to my next shift because I knew I'd have the money after the shift.
Right.
But I'm like I need the gas to get there. But yeah, it's like it's crazy. There's so much. Like I think I thought. I don't know. It's just like I was not in a good financial spot in my 20s, but
Agreed.
It's just like
when I think back, I don't know. It's like we were fine. I mean, Joey was working for the Chiefs before so when I graduated, I moved back here. We got our apartment in Briarcliff. And it was a 1-bedroom. I think it was like $11.50 a month. Yeah. And we were like, "Oh, that's stretching it." Like,
yeah, right. It was stretching it. Yeah.
And yeah, he worked for the Chiefs. I mean, he made probably half or less with the Chiefs, and this is when they were not good. Oh. So he was calling people, begging them to buy season tickets, and they were like, "No, why would I do that?"
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was making almost nothing. Like, it was comical. And then, he decided that he wanted to go back and be a teacher. And I was like, well, that's a step up, which is sad to say, honestly.
But it is like, that's like at least one of the biggest differences. And I started making good money in my mid-20s. Probably when I was 25, 26.
Same.
But it was just so much like, so I will say financial security is something that is not much of a worry I could lose my job, something could happen. I could lose my job at any time, like whatever. So there is like in a sense, but it's not. So I will say that's one win of my 30s. I would like to say. I
would agree.
And I was, when I was still when I was just getting in the mortgage business, I was only making, which was probably when I was 22, 23, I was only making $10 an hour as a loan officer assistant. So I was working full time. I was working 4 nights a week at Margarita's. So
you had to.
Full time, basically almost full time at Margarita's, working a ton, and then full time going to grad school at Rockhurst because I thought I wanted to be a high school history teacher. I was going to get out of the mortgage business to be, it was just a job at that point for me. But so I just remember those years and being like, oh my gosh, am I going to have to hustle? Like I couldn't even breathe. I mean, when did I eat? I don't even think I ate. Mm-hmm. I'd show up to class and I'd have like all these like snacks and people would be like looking at me being like, what
good?
What's wrong with this girl? So that's another thing too. I'm like, I don't have to, I'm still hustling and I work really, really hard and I work a lot.
Totally.
But it's so different, you know?
Yes.
So it's like, I would chalk that up as another win.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And so this is just so weird to say that COVID was 5 years ago.
Oh, wow,
So I
yeah.
would have been 28. And that's when I kind of started kind of searching for what I was doing at my previous job, just like wasn't, especially with, I mean, I was involved in like pandemic, I don't know what you call it. We can edit that out. I was doing stuff related to the pandemic with my last job, and I was just like, this is not for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not making an impact. I'm not whatever. So that's when I kind of started seeking out, and I don't know, like, have you heard of what is it called when you're like when you're like 29? What's your like the do you know? No, it's like you're like the astrological.
Oh, no. Like, what? I don't. So, what is it? What do you mean?
I want to say it's not like you're rising or something. It's your
Oh, okay. Yes, I am not
It's
good.
like your Saturn is coming to an
Saturn
end.
return.
Yeah, your Saturn
Yes,
return.
that's
Okay.
what it is. So I didn't know this at the time, but I think this was like my Saturn return like happening, which I am not really. I don't know.
Into astrology?
I to like a very small extent. I'm not like looking at. I don't even know like what my rising and all those things are, but
Me neither. I just know I'm a Gemini and I'm a true Gemini.
and I'm a true Leo.
Yeah.
Like
I like don't look into it. Like my little sister actually knows so much about that stuff
Yeah.
that I'm just like, okay, that's
it
weird.
is cool, but
Yeah.
I just.
But it is
yeah.
funny because I am like, oh yeah, when I read the description, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that is me.
Same. But it's just funny that I do feel like my life did like I did have this like awakening, and that's what they say that happens in your Saturn return like when you're around 29, which is crazy. So maybe that's why then we make a big deal about being 30, because then
Oh,
you
yeah.
kind of are like awakened. I don't know.
That
Did you
could be
have
where-
anything like that?
When I was 29.
Yeah, or like around like leading up to that, I guess.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
It could be in
seriously-
any aspect. It wouldn't have to be.
Well, I'm like, what even happened when I was 20?
Yeah.
I mean, I seriously feel like I have,
Well, it was post COVID.
and everything just
right.
feels like a blur.
Yeah.
I will say, I kind of like, so we've talked about like, I mean, in your 30s, it's kind of when you start to have like financial security, you kind of start to like figure things, or feel like you may have already had things figured out. Like, I don't know, like, I would say that I'm a lot more comfortable with like what I'm doing and who I am. What I'm doing in the sense that like I'm okay with the fact that I am not like married and don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
And so more okay than I used to be. You know, I used to like some nights like cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that's kind of what started happening. But I think too a benefit of kind of this like doing life in your 30s is that I do feel like everyone's kind of grounded in like their purpose a little more.
Yeah.
Like 20s, you're like, okay, what am I? I'm just trying to like
Who am I?
make things work.
Yeah.
And you're not as like intentional. At least for me, like dating in my 20s, I think about it a lot about how I dated people in my 20s that I would have never given the time of day in my 30s.
Yeah.
I think you're not thinking really intentionally about those things.
Mm-hmm. And about like the
Yeah.
life that you want to
Right.
build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of another thing that's a little bit different is that as soon as I turned 30, I was just like, okay, I am going to be intentional about, like, I will not be in a long-term relationship with someone who, I don't know, I just don't have, like, the same morals and, like, viewpoints and things like that, like I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So,
You would let some things slide almost to
Yeah.
just
Right.
for like short-term
Mm-hmm.
benefit,
Yeah.
I guess.
And I haven't done that and wouldn't do that
Yeah.
in my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I also think now I care less. I still care, like, about. I still care what other people think of me, but I care less
yeah.
because, and I think that's like you said, like you're just more confident in
Who you are.
who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of what you're doing, where you're
Mhm.
headed. Yeah. I would say that too. And like relationships have changed like as a whole, I think for me from like kind of as I like moved into my 30s, I feel like I used to like well, I mean in our 20s, our friend group would have tiffs and
Oh, yeah.
and there was just I'm sure you guys are the same way, but
Yeah.
there's just like you kind of learn that like none of those things matter.
Yeah.
It is so the fact that we once cared about those things or
Mhm.
made a big deal about those things is like almost crazy.
Yeah.
And I kind of did the same thing like with my parents too. I think in my 20s I was like really hard on my parents about like or like kind of held stuff against them for things that they did and did
Yeah.
not do when I was growing up. And once I like hit 30, I was like, geez, they were just like doing life for the first time too.
Yeah.
So I got to give them grace.
Yeah. I just listened to something the other day and it was like when you realize that your parents, and really you can apply it to anyone, but when your parents were just doing the best they could and they
Yeah.
were raising kids for the first time too,
Yeah.
then you're like, wow, I hope like other people can give me that grace, so
Yeah.
I need to do the same.
Yeah. That was like, I kind of started figuring that out in my like late 20s,
Mm-hmm.
but that was like probably a big,
Yeah.
like a big thing.
And they're not going to be around forever, too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's...
And that's another like awakening thing that I've had. Because I mean, and my dad used to tell me this all the time, as like we lost people like from our class, like people who passed away.
Yeah.
Or like one of my best friends passed away when I was a junior in college, and like all this stuff. It's like he's like, as you get older, Alex, he's like, that's what happens as you get older. Like people, they don't like live forever.
It's real
So-
life stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yes, that's like another piece too, because I'm like, God forbid something ever happen. I mean, I'm so close. I have such a close relationship with both of my parents.
Yeah.
That but it was funny because my mom and it was just her and I on the beach one day, this last week, and she was like, "Can you believe that when I was your age, I had a 10-year-old?"
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, "No, I can't
No.
actually." But
That's
I
crazy.
go, actually though, I said, that sounds kind of like I could have a 10-year-old right now, because like I go at 10 years old, I was pretty self-sufficient. She goes, well, actually, she goes, at like 5, you were self-sufficient. She's like, you were an adult and like telling me what to do when you were like
That's
7.
awesome.
So, and like doing your own laundry and staying home by yourself. And I'm like, okay, touche. But I'm like,
my
Mom, that's not normal. Like
Right.
we do know that now, right? Like we'll joke about it. And she's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that when I was, parenting you. And I'm like, I don't know. It turned out okay.
Yeah. Just
But-
preparing you for the real world.
But yeah, just the fact that she had a 10-year-old, I'm going, okay, that's like
Yeah.
insane.
And that
But
really, like, puts it into perspective, too.
big time.
Yeah.
But what else? I'm like, what else are we like figuring out now? I don't know if this is like a movement in the whole, like in the world as a whole. But in my 20s, I'm like, did I eat like a solid meal? Did I drink enough
Oh my
water? And now it's like, did I take I have my vitamins I need to take.
Yeah.
I gotta I gotta eat this much protein. I have to eat like 3 square meals. I'm like, what were we doing back then?
I have no idea.
I think our nutrition's probably gotten a little bit better in our 30s.
I would say so, yes. Yeah. 100%. I
We're taking care of our bodies more.
never, like, it is so hard to get the amount of protein that you're supposed to have. Like, there's no way I've ever, before now, like, come close to what you're
Right.
supposed to get.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess we didn't need it. Like,
Yeah.
and
I will
everyone
say,
was always like, oh, you gotta eat right and exercise and blah, blah, blah. And when you're young, you're like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
Because you don't see the effects of not like doing it consistently, and
Yeah.
then it happens. And you're
I
like,
guess
"Okay."
another big change to like piggyback off of that and what we deal with now that we didn't used to is the fact that like if you have one drink out at dinner, you like somehow pay for it the next day.
Seriously.
Whereas when I was 20 something, I remember one night it was like Easter and it was me and two of my friends that lived in a townhome. We were probably 24, 23, 24. We lived in a townhouse and we all went out. We went to Power and Light the night before Easter, and we were up until like 4 or 5 in the morning and whatever. I woke up 2 hours later at 7 a.m., did my hair, did my makeup, and showed up at church.
Yeah.
On Easter. I'm like, what? I could never do that.
I mean,
I
I
would-
remember one Easter, I was with my family, and for some reason we played Monopoly. We're never allowed to again after that night, but I think I had like a whole bottle of wine, and then obviously it's on Sunday, so I had to wake up the next day, drive back to Columbia, take a test at 8 a.m.
Oh,
And I did great on the test.
yeah.
It was fine. I'm like, how?
It's like now I really don't. I have like not like a no drinking policy during the week, but I don't drink during
I
the
don't
week
either.
because I'm like
It's not worth it.
my job is not fun to do.
No.
Even if I've just had 2 like glasses of wine.
Even one, I don't sleep well,
Yeah.
and I notice it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night, and
Oh my gosh, and taking care of kids.
Yeah. Oh, that is, if you thought that it was bad just being hungover, and you have to, like, get up to let your dog out, oh no.
No.
Have crying, needy children and be hungover. It is, I mean,
Literally
There's
the worst.
actually nothing worse in life than that.
I feel like there's no better time like the like not drinking movement I feel like is really big right now.
It is,
like
yeah.
which gosh, I feel like even college kids are doing that now, and I'm
Yeah.
like, where was that when we were in college? Like
Nowhere near us.
I think my liver was borderline like done for when I
Yeah.
was in college. So,
Same.
but it's like, so yeah, I'm like no better time to jump on the maybe no drinking movement.
Yeah,
than when
or
you have kids.
even I was talking to my friend about this the other day, like just alternating like alcoholic with non-alcoholic, because now they actually make pretty decent like non-alcoholic drinks, so you still kind of feel like you're partaking, but you don't have to
Right.
have the effects.
Or the THC drinks are big now too.
Yeah,
My dad's company actually, like, he told me about it the other day, and he knows like nothing about that stuff, which neither do I. I'm so far removed from any of that. But he was like, yeah, we sell them now. I'm like, oh wow. And I have seen people like bloggers and things like post about that.
yeah,
So that's like a big thing.
yeah, we've tried them, and I have tried probably like this much, and
No.
I was like, I have to go to sleep.
Okay. Well then, yeah, I'm never. Thanks for trying them, because now I'm not going.
But it tastes really good. So I wanted to drink more, but I was like, I physically cannot do it.
Literally can't. Okay. Well, good to know. Not doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Not a fan of the whole not feeling good the next day.
It's terrible.
So
Another thing I know, like you have done, I don't know, do you do it a few times a year? Like just get off social media for, I don't know, like a month or so?
yeah. Usually that's what I do for Lent.
Yeah.
Is give up social media. Just because I know, which it's honestly not hard for me to give up. That's I think the thing is like I have never, and I mean this was different. Well, first of all, probably for both of us, I didn't care about social media in my early 20s either. I just
No.
feel like that wasn't a movement for us, like our generation.
It was not. Mm-mm.
And stuff. But I did. Yes, I do like to do like detoxes because I notice my attention span gets so short. Like when I am
Yeah.
constantly and I feel like that's something that you can work on and you can kind of improve when you don't have it.
Yep.
You kind of retrain like your brain. Like I don't have to pick something up,
Yep.
and I get a lot of reading done during those times. Like so I actually I went without social media for like 2 full years. when I was probably
amazing.
like 25, 26.
Mm.
And it was the best. My ex-boyfriend, the guy I was dating at the time, we both did it because we were like, how cool would it be to like go to dinner with our friends and they don't know what we've been doing. Like we get to like talk about with them like, hey, what have you guys been up to?
I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, like our parents that when they would go like catch up with their friends, like they literally did not know unless they had called them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have known what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it is. It's like something to think about. Truly. I actually just posted something on Instagram today. This is so funny on my Instagram story. And it was like, man, I didn't want to become one of those old people, but the phones really did it. None of us are doing well.
Honestly.
And I was like, yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like, and yeah. So, I mean, I'm a big believer in the fact that I can 1000% promise you that if I did not feel, because I need it for business, I have to post stuff to stay relevant.
Yep.
Because people do reach out about business on Instagram. Even if I'm not posting on my business Instagram and I'm posting on my personal Instagram,
They're still like, oh, hey, I need to talk to her about XYZ because I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate that. Like, I really, really hate it.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't need it, I can promise you I would not have it. I'm so much happier without it.
Yep.
Like.
And I feel like everyone feels that.
Yeah.
But we still.
Do it.
Yeah, we still do it.
I know. I'm hoping, like, you know how, like, I feel like kind of we go through, like, these movement, like, for example, what we've been talking about of no drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there needs to be, I'm hoping that one of these generations will like find it cool to like go back and have
a flip phone.
Yes. And I've thought about that a lot. I actually talked about that, like doing that in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like when I was off social media, I was like, I just want a flip phone.
I loved a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Like if I could just have a BlackBerry again,
yeah,
I think I would be happy. But Joey sent me something today actually, and it was talking about the impact of social media and just screens in general on young girls.
Oh yeah.
And obviously that like hit home for both of us because like people, girls like especially are so depressed,
Mm-hmm.
committing suicide.
Yeah.
Like so anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that I think can be attributed to social media, but
100%.
it also
Just the comparison thing.
yes,
Yeah.
and how they're looking at other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I just think if I had that when I was 12 years old, my confidence would be shot. I would not be the same person. I know that I wouldn't.
Well, I can honestly say, like, that's like another thing about kind of being, you know, in my 30s, I accepted that it was okay to like seek therapy. Like, we all probably could benefit. I'm a firm believer
100%.
in that. Like, we all could probably benefit from having a therapist.
Yes.
Regardless of what you have like dealt with. It's probably,
I've always said I need to.
right. Even if you had the most picture perfect
to-do list.
like life growing up.
Yeah.
Like, life is still hard and,
my gosh,
and whatever. But I had the worst anxiety in my 20s. Like, I'm talking like bad. And I didn't do anything for it. You know, I just dealt with it. But that's something, and I'm sure it was because of social media.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff. And I think I kind of recognized that, and that's kind of why I started doing like the like detoxes basically. But I can say, like, in my 30s now, I mean, yes, I'm still comparing myself to people. I mean, I just feel like that's human nature, just in terms of, like, oh, they have kids and they have a family. I don't. I'm over here on an island, blah, blah, blah. But I've become, like, a lot more, and that might just be to, like, what we talked about, just being, like, grounded in who you are, you know, at this age and stuff like that. But I'm definitely less anxious.
Yes.
And less.
And just the fact that it affected, because it definitely affected me in my 20s too, but I'm just thinking, like, at least we were as old as we were.
Yeah.
Like, think about, I don't know, there's like 9-year-olds that are on Instagram
Yeah.
and TikTok, and I'm like,
And that'll be something that you have to deal with.
yeah.
Well, how old's your oldest?
The twins are 2.
Your oldest, though.
What?
You have an older daughter, right?
Mm-mm,
Or
younger.
The twins are.
Yeah, the twins are the oldest.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did I just get that? I'm like remembering now, but that feels like years ago that we went to breakfast at Kate's Kitchen and I brought you outfits for the girls.
Oh my God,
When
yeah.
when you were pregnant with them. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. Okay, so they're 2, so you won't have to deal with that.
Yeah,
stuff,
it'll be a little bit.
but you're
but-
still gonna have to deal with it.
I'm sure their friends are gonna have phones like in elementary school.
I had a phone. I did have a phone when I was 10 because my mom was dropping me off at places by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to add at the haunted houses downtown by myself.
Stop.
When I was 10. Yeah. Is that normal? I don't think so.
At least you had a phone.
Yeah.
That's where I would condone it for sure.
And could be why I'm like not afraid to stay like by myself,
Yeah.
whatever. But anyways, yeah, so you'll have to deal with the phone thing.
Yeah.
But, and hopefully social media will be out by then.
I hope so. I do think there's going to be a movement against it, which
Yeah.
I fully support.
Patiently wait.
Can only hope. Especially in front of my kids who are watching and listening. They will say all the words that we say,
Mhm.
which is kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, I think just growing and feeling more confident in the person that I am, much more so now than
Yeah.
my 20s.
Yeah. I would say mine are probably, like, I mean, all of those are applicable. But just, like, giving relationships grace, like, any relationship, like, with friends, like, my significant other, my parents, because we're all just, like, here doing life for the first time.
Totally.
But just, yeah, just focusing on, not trying to, like, knowing that I'm on, like, a different path than other people right now is
Mhm.
another one, too. And, like, that's okay. And then, yeah, just trying to take care of, like, my mind, my body, and be better tomorrow than I am today. So, in my
Love it.
20s, I don't think I was too worried about that.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
That's it.
But thanks for listening, everyone.
Yes.
And next time we will talk about the Kansas, kind of Missouri-Kansas border war type thing. So
Stay tuned.
stay tuned.